Hi, everybody. I almost spit water all over my laptop, which would definitely had be the biggest. We got the audio thing go. Oh, shoot. Hang on. Talking about technical difficult. Oh, quiet. Which definitely had. Oh, I was ready for this too. Oh, quiet. What did I do? What did I do? I messed it up. Dano, this is all your fault. This is all Dano's fault. It's the British invasion. Okay, where were we? Hi, everybody. I almost just spit water all over everything because I was logging in and I saw Dano say, I swear Mark likes to make an entrance. And I almost just spit water all over my laptop, which would have not been good at all. Dano brings it home with the joke. And hey, everybody, how you doing? Let me set since we're having technical difficulties, let me set the chat to all chat, so hopefully I can hear or see or read everybody. If you're new here, Sunday night, I don't really post this on social media, except there's one formerly homeless woman who asks I post a link in our support group. So it's just us talking. It's become the Invisible People Sunday Night Family. Some might call it Sunday Night Rants. I'm a little scruffy. I got a miracle to show you. I really do. Hang on. I'm going to show you a miracle. Has something to do with the scruftiness. I don't know. Should you guys have me cut my COVID hair? So should I do, what was back when I was growing up, it was Yule Gibbons, I think was the guy that used to, sell granola and was the Jeremiah Johnson, if you will. Those of you under the age of 50 probably don't know either of those references. I apologize for being a boomer. Those of you that are new, we have Derek and Addie. I saw Derek and Addie in the chat, I believe. They are, I will argue, the best moderators. Addie is formerly homeless, hopefully forever formerly homeless, and Derek is currently living in a encampment, and hopefully someday soon he will be no longer homeless. And I have got a kind of cool show. I mean, sometimes I prepare, sometimes I don't. And when I prepare, you guys just want to talk. And when I don't prepare, you just want to talk. But I just feel pressure in a good way to, provide content and an entertaining show. And oh my gosh, the microphone's all the way over there. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? So tonight I'm going to show you a miracle in a second. That's if you want to see a miracle. I am going to show you a clip of one of the mini documentary that's dropping, as they say. Can I tell you something? There's two slang words or two words that are popular, not with my generation. I kind of have, it's not easy for me to say. So I'm an ex-addict, so saying something is dope just seems, I understand dope is good, but dope is also really, really bad. So saying something is dope is kind of rough, right? For me anyways, and when, a lot of YouTubers are probably people producing content, albums, listen to me, that are producing digital content that you can download on Spotify. God, I am feeling old tonight. Anybody besides me feeling old? Anyways, the other one that I just have some trouble is saying drop. So we have a new mini documentary dropping this Wednesday. Hopefully, if all goes well. Gosh, I got something in my eye. And, wow. Holy schmoly, I really got something in my eye. So if I'm crying, which I occasionally do, right now it is not emotional, even though I love you guys. It's because I got something in my eye. And so I'm we're dropping a new mini documentary that's gonna be dope. Hey, I did it. Okay, boomer. We're dropping a new mini documentary that's gonna be dope. But first, let me. And you guys, I don't know if you saw, you know what? I should cue that up too. And I did. I've been preparing. I really have. Honest. So cool. Okay, you guys, let me pull up the chat. See what y'all there. You guys, you want to see a miracle? I mean, it is a miracle. A miracle. I am just shocked. Well, I'm shocked that I can't bring up the right settings on the software. But it is a miracle. A miracle. You guys ready? Are you ready? Okay, drum roll, please. Here you go. That is the first empty room in Mom's house. First empty room. Finally emptied a room. I've been working on this forever. And I know that's an empty photo of an empty room. You're saying, what is the miracle? So my mom passed away a year ago. I've been trying to get out of this house. But I've been working on Invisible People for 12 years without receiving a penny. And I had to first grow Invisible People. I mean, everything we do, Invisible People, is to fight homelessness. But it wasn't sustainable until we started hiring staff to help us grow, to reach more people, to fight homelessness better, stronger, to really have more impact. And so now I got a room clean. I've got a room clean. And I know, I get it. You probably like crazy, but some of you that have been with the chat. So there's other rooms that are close. But that's the first room that has fully been cleaned out. So I'm headed back to Los Angeles in a couple weeks, look for an apartment. The goal is to get a realtor in here. I have another couple rooms to clean out before I bring in a realtor. And once I get back to LA, it's on. Oh my gosh, on the streets every day, helping people, handing out socks, telling stories, doing what we can to really educate the public and fight homelessness. I mean, so those of you that don't know, Invisible People started in Los Angeles. We had significant impact. We've always had significant impact. But our growth was definitely, I don't think if I was in any other city, and it's not because homelessness is bad in LA. Homelessness is worse in New York City, and homelessness is bad in Jackson, Ohio, a town of 5,000 people. It's just relative. Homelessness is bad everywhere. And what it was is there's this energy in LA. There is this, and that'd be a good story to tell. I got some other stuff that already programmed, but if you guys want to hear how Invisible People started with the social media club in LA, it's kind of a funny story. It was the people in LA that helped Invisible People grow. And, when I've been back here helping to take care of my mom, although I was still able to do a lot of stuff. I mean, gosh, so many cool things, amazing things. It's getting back to Los Angeles that is really, 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 really going to, it's on. I mean, a couple things. As many of you know, we're doing we're doing journalism. We do daily news on Apple News and Google News. We have 68 writers, actually. Only about 17 of them write regularly. And our journalism is growing, but I'm bringing it to video. We're doing more video journalism. I'm going to try to, I got this idea of a weekly news show, which kind of, you could say this is a weekly rant show, right? So we're doing the movie. You guys saw the movie or a preview clip last week. More mini docs, and it's going to be on. It's going to be on. So I got 2 clips queued up for you guys tonight. The first one is, oh my gosh, did I do this wrong?
We're here to see my friend Takesha for the past 4 years.
Woo! Some reason the software was showing, that blue folder instead of the clip. And I was like, oh my gosh, did I create a bin or something? I'm about to play a clip of the day we followed the USC Street Medicine, University of Southern California, on Skid Row. The full movie or the full video hopefully will drop Wednesday when we normally upload. I need you guys' help, especially those of you in California. How many of you are California? Walter, that's you. Derek, this is you. We need everybody. And let me set this up. So you've seen like what we did with Venice and Dr. Coley King. Street doctors are able to go out and help people, but because insurance companies don't recognize them as doctors, they are not their primary care physicians. So you're a homeless person, you're outside. To get a primary care physician, you have to go to a hospital. And you'll hear in this clip, this woman, it takes her a full day. 4 hours there, 4 hours back. And then, hey, Auntie D, thank you. And then the doctor in the hospital might not understand homelessness. They might not understand this person's situation. They might not understand that this person doesn't have the ability to get water. That this person might be food insecure, that there might be no bathrooms close, or our hygiene might be a challenge. So what this bill, and we need all of you to contact, all of you in California. I don't know how it works if you're not in California, and I'm not going to ask anybody to lie. I really believe in integrity and honesty, okay? If you're in California, we need you to contact your state senators to pass the street medicine bill so that homeless people, so that street doctors can be the primary care physician. It's extremely important. And so this is an example. People ask, what does invisible people do? And if I donate, what comes from this? What kind of impact? So this video that we're posting Wednesday that I'm going to play in less than a minute is a teaser. Thank you, Sharon. Is a teaser of the video that the doctors are going to use to pass a law. We're going to... I mean, there's a lot of moving players, right? And I got to fix this. I think it's the lens. I got to fix this Zoom stuff. But we're going to be part of passing a law, hopefully. I believe, I mean, this one's a I'm sure insurance companies are going to fight it, you know. Anytime that we have to help pay for people's health care, the money, people fight it. But anyways, I'm going to play you a clip, now less than 30 seconds. Once I'm stop jaw-jacking, I'm going to play you this clip. You know what? I'm just going to play it. Here it is. This is a teaser for... I'm still jaw-jacking. You want me to play it? This is a teaser. I love you guys. I'm just ornery tonight. I think it's the scruff. Happy scruffy, happy Sunday scruffy. And I know many of you are thinking, especially those of you that are new, is that this guy is weird or wasted, but I'm going to have 26 years sober coming soon. Anyways, here is a clip. Just a segment. The full video is going to be so much better, but here, check this out.
One of the things that we get asked a lot is how do we solve homelessness, especially in LA where the crisis is so huge? And the truth is that all these programs and housing will help homelessness, but it's not going to solve homelessness. It won't be solved by a program. So what we have to do is start welcoming the folks back into our community and take responsibility and stand in solidarity with them. The people experiencing homelessness, they're our neighbors and we want to take care of them. So start separating the person from their housing status and hate homelessness, but love the person experiencing homelessness. And until we as a society are willing to stop thinking of them as others and take responsibility as one of us, then the problem won't be solved.
Melka, I'm okay, but I just played you guys the wrong clip. I swear I'm okay. That was the clip I was going to rant off of. So I totally played you the wrong clip. And since I set up the other clip, I am just going to play the other clip right now. This is the clip that I meant to play first, which means you're still going to get a rant. You guys want a rant? You got a rant coming up after this clip, but here, watch.
We're here to see my friend Takesha. For the past 4 years, her typical pattern is that she will go into the hospital in a severe asthma attack. She's been intubated multiple times with the tube down her throat to help her breathe. She'll stay in the hospital for a week or two, be discharged on steroids, and be okay for about a week or two out here and then back into the hospital. All right, Takesha, do you need help? How's your breathing doing? You said you're starting to get short of breath again? I'm gonna take a listen.
Yeah, I'm feeling a little bit. Before 2 years ago, I was in the hospital, once every 6-7 months. And now, for the last 2 years, it's been like once a month.
So how long does it take you from the time you leave here to the time you get back to go to an appointment?
Good 8 hours, yeah. They've helped me a lot. They saved me trips to the doctors. They've helped me get to the doctor.
Do you feel like in a few days you'd have to go back to the hospital?
Probably.
You are pretty wheezy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you the steroids here to try and prevent you from having to go back to the hospital. Yeah, I wrote it right here. 4 for 3 days, 3 for 3 days, 2 for 3 days, 1 for 3 days, then stop. The Street Medicine Act will help somebody like Takesha because before we met her, she wasn't able to get any of her medications. But essentially what it does is that it legitimizes street medicine as a real form of healthcare delivery, and in doing so, recognizes the people on the street as human and somebody who's worthy of our care and our love.
I love that ending with Takesha. The Street Medicine Act, and it could come up for a vote as early as next week, I'm told. Politicians and the whole politics stuff is messed up because it could come up for a vote weeks from now. They really don't know. It's amazing our government even functions. But that clip and the video Wednesday, and Wednesday, you know, in the description at the end of the video, we'll have clear calls to action. We need, if you're in California, share the video to everybody you know. Contact your senators. Have them either co-author the bill or support it. I cannot stress how important it is. And even if you do not care for homeless people, and I'm sure there's probably a couple of you watching, it's important to save taxpayer money. To me, it's more important to save lives. Human life. I mean, I researched it once. You know, what's the cost of a human life, right? And it's in the millions and millions of dollars. And I don't think you can actually put a price on a human life. I don't. We're all precious. All of us. All of you. We're precious. We're humans. And we should help each other. That should be the priority. But by having doctors that go out on the streets be allowed to be the primary care physician, it also saves money. It saves taxpayer money. So it's important. It's important actually to do both. For me, it's about life, but saving taxpayer money is also important. Anyways, the second clip, which I accidentally played first, is for a rant. Now, if you guys still want the rant, I know you guys don't want me to rant, right? You don't like it when I rant. And I'm kind of in one of those silly moods, so my head probably will explode. But this is, you know, I'm a little scared now because this is one of those rants I'm really passionate about. So maybe it was a God thing, and I rarely say it's a God thing, but maybe it was meant to be that I accidentally played the second clip in the wrong order. That way, you know, maybe we shouldn't do the rant. What do you think? Woman of purse, rant, Menu Frog says, woman of purpose. I care about homeless people. Yes. Invisible America TV, I think it is, Walter said it. If Walter says it, I got to go there. And Auntie D is looking. No, Addie, zap them. Virus bad. Vaccination, good. End of story. I think Planet Walker, everything is a God thing. And, we're going to talk about spirituality. A couple of weeks back, somebody asked, about spirituality and homelessness, and we didn't get to it, so maybe that's tonight. See, Dano says ran away, and Melka says do as you please. Well, Melka, I please to make you guys happy, and you guys seem to like it when Cynthia, it's a God wink. I think you guys like it when I rant. So, okay, let me warm up to this. Let me warm up. I got to set it up. Grabs popcorn. Okay, now that Dano's got his popcorn. Okay. Uh-oh, we have the green light to go down the runway from Addie. I believe we can end homelessness. I do. But I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen in my lifetime. Or probably yours. What's really messed up about it is we can end homelessness. We know how to end homelessness. We've known how to end homelessness for years. There's just not the political and public will to do it. I know you all want to help end homelessness. You're part of the invisible people family, but it's whatever reason, people are just stuck on stupid. So for years, and this might be an extended rant, but hold on, I'm going to play that video again, and it might make me explode. So get your 911 ready. Addie knows where I live. Derek knows where I live. They can get the paramedics here if I explode. Homelessness has been growing probably since I've been alive. Has it been growing in your neighborhood? Probably has. The homeless sector, and I get it. You want to celebrate success. We're humans. You want to be able to go, we're doing good, and we should be able to celebrate success. But the homeless sector has gone to the point of being in denial. And I used to attend. Well, I be honest, 10 years ago, the national conferences used to bring me in because I would help them live stream even before live streaming was a thing. You can find several of them on our earlier videos. And then they stopped bringing me in because I don't know, and it doesn't really matter, but I continued to go. And then I just got really fed up with the National Homeless Conventions. But what's really interesting is the leaders would take the stage, and even though homelessness is growing, because they all look at data, they look at spreadsheets, and data can tell you whatever you want. Can you see I'm going to explode? I'm going to explode on this one. This is it drives me crazy. So they would take the stage and tell a room full of national leaders that we're winning. We're ending homelessness. And I know I would get on Twitter or I would get on Facebook and I would say, hey, in your city, wherever you are we ending homelessness? And people would respond, no, it's growing. And I'm like looking at what is this disconnect with national leaders and the world, reality. I mean, they're telling everybody we're winning homelessness and homelessness is growing. There is something wrong. So a couple years ago, homeless got so bad, the national leaders, when they took the stage at the National Homeless Conference, they could no longer say we're winning. They would say, oh, we can do better, right? It was very clear that homelessness is getting worse. And what I'm trying to set up here is the homeless sector. So like there's one organization, last I knew, they said they've ended homelessness in 14 cities. Then there's a government organization. Now it's segmented, veterans homelessness or chronic homelessness. And there's another organization in Washington, D.C., a federal organization that makes the claim they've ended veterans homelessness in like 83 cities. You know, they might have updated their website or their spin or whatever, right? So you have one saying 14 and one saying 83. What is it? Well, they have different criteria. And yet they both will say, we ended homelessness. We ended homelessness. You cannot end homelessness. You cannot end homelessness unless that happens every time. Alexa, turn off living room. I thought like it was like a planned thing where, you know, I'm building in momentum. The head is going to explode and the lights go on. You cannot end homelessness unless you fix the affordable housing crisis, you stop racism, you fix foster care, broken foster care, you fix living wage so people can actually rent a place, you fix a broken criminal justice system, you fix mental illness and addiction, fix domestic violence. You can go on and on and on. See, homelessness is not a cause. Homelessness is a symptom. So to actually end homelessness, which I believe we can, you still got to go upstream. You have to go upstream to fix the affordable housing crisis and fix addiction and mental illness and, you know, stop racism and make it so that when people are released from prison, they actually are able to integrate back into society. And you could go on and on and on. But you cannot claim to end homelessness and you just can't. So what it is they have this thing called functional zero, which I agree with. So let's say you have 100 homeless veterans. So then they have, preferably, I hope it's 100 apartments. So on a spreadsheet, they've ended homelessness. It's a good way to prepare. I think we should, as a model, make it so that if somebody does end up homeless, we're prepared to get them off the streets as quickly as possible. That is a brilliant idea. It's a brilliant idea. But you still didn't really end homelessness. You didn't. It's spin. And I'm trying not to say the BS word. It's spin. It's spin, spin, spin. So, the reason these organizations say they end homelessness is actually selfish. And I don't mean that they're like, you know, we're good, this is all about us. These are wonderful, good people that are giving their lives to help end homelessness. These are wonderful people with the best of intentions. But when they're saying we ended homelessness, they're doing it to get support for their work. And by saying we ended homelessness, it doesn't bring attention to the social crises like the lack of affordable housing and domestic violence and lack of a living wage and racism. When you say you ended homelessness, why fix everything else? You ended it. Let's go home. Parties on, right? The day that homelessness is actually ended, we're going to party, right? Right? I mean, we don't have to do anything else. You ended homelessness. So, in our mini documentary, Brett, who's a physician's assistant, he's the director. He's the director of the Street Medicine Institute. And I think it's really interesting because I've keynoted the homeless healthcare conference. And the homeless healthcare crowd, wonderful people, have a different whole view of solutions to end homelessness than just the housing people or the shelter people. So I'm going to play this clip. And what's really neat, and you guys are going to get I already played it, but now you get some context. What's really neat about this is Brett, who's the director of street medicine, on his own. So at the end, I asked him, is there anything you'd like to add? And this is what he said. And we're going to end the video with this. If by any chance Alex, who produces these videos with me, are watching, I apologize because she didn't do a final mix, so the audio isn't mixed properly. And she would probably rather have me wait. On the other clip, I think it's fine, but this one is noticeable. But Brent answers the question, how do we end homelessness? Now watch, pay attention to this one. How do we end homelessness?
One of the things that we get asked a lot is how do we solve homelessness, especially in LA where the crisis is so huge? And the truth is that all these programs and housing will help homelessness, but it's not going to solve homelessness. It won't be solved by a program. So what we have to do is start welcoming the folks back into our community and take responsibility and stand in solidarity with them. The people experiencing homelessness, they're our neighbors and we want to take care of them. So start separating the person from their housing status and hate homelessness, but love the person experiencing homelessness. And until we as a society are willing to stop thinking of them as others and take responsibility as one of us, then the problem won't be solved.
I could play that 10 times, but I saw Jeff A make a comment in the chat that I have to address. And it's very kind. Jeff, I'm glad that you said it. Jeff said, homeless sector is a sham to siphon taxpayer money. No, not at all. The homeless sector, the homeless industry, the homeless industrial complex, whatever you want to call it, needs to be conscious that it perpetuates itself. Now, how the homeless industrial complex perpetuates itself is when there's something like elderly homelessness or the homeless because of COVID. The first thing they do is go and fund research. Instead of just going and helping people, let's fund research, right? And nobody's going, well, let's make money. That is a false narrative. It's a lie. I've never met anyone, and I've traveled to over 300 cities, that is trying to profit off homelessness. Homelessness has grown, and the homeless industry has grown. The homeless industry was first created by Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan cut $15 billion worth of HUD funding in the 80s, right, of affordable housing funding. Reagan overnight created the homeless industry. And the homeless industry in many ways is just responding to the homeless crisis. Sometimes good, sometimes wrong, sometimes it needs to repair and adjust, but most everyone I've met are good people giving their all to help others. In Los Angeles, they housed, homelessness is growing, and people say, well, it's the fault of the homeless industry. Bull. I almost said the BS. I'm trying not to cuss. Bull. LAHSA housed more people than it ever has. It housed over 200,000 people last year. What's the problem? there's more people entering into homelessness. So law says getting about 150 people out of homelessness into housing, but there's 350 people coming into homelessness every day. I'm turning red. I'm gonna explode. I mean, what you don't see and what you need to see is the causes of homelessness. The homeless sector isn't siphoning from taxpayer money. And many of the people that say this false narrative, they want police action, right? They complain about the homeless industry, and the homeless industry should really streamline bureaucracy, learn how to be more effective with money. It's a problem in every sector. I'm not saying the homeless industry is innocent, but if you're going to complain about the cost of affordable housing to create housing for homeless people, and you're going to complain about the homeless industry, yet you support police going in and locking people up, that's like 100 times more, right? So one of the things that is stated is that an apartment on Proposition HHH, which I believe is a failure. I mean, when it's all said and done, hopefully the 10,000 units will be created, but only 700 units have been created in 4 years, and the cost is really high. But let's say even at the one comptroller in LA said 500,000 to 700,000, which is ridiculous. It really is. That's still a one-time cost. You put somebody in jail, that's 150,000 every year, right? In 3 or 4 years, that's over 700,000. Then you're not talking about the police action to get them there, the court systems and everything. You're going to spend, I really am. I've got to calm down my head. I feel like I'm having an aneurysm. The court system and everything else is far more expensive than the homeless industry or creating PSH. And people just seem, because they just hate homeless people. But I'm glad Jeff, I mean, this whole thing about poverty pimps. Come on. Really? Ask yourself, imagine what would happen if the homeless industry, which is flawed, I don't know, look at friggin' any industry and there's problems. Why? Because we're human. But imagine tomorrow if the homeless industry, the homeless sector just disappeared. All the funding to all the shelters, to all the outreach, to all the healthcare, to everything just disappeared. Imagine it. Downtown LA, there's, Midnight Mission, Weingart, Union Rescue Mission, LA Mission. There's probably 5 mega shelters. There's some others, Fred Jordan and different missions. I don't know how many people they hold. I think URM has over 1,000 homeless people. LA Mission probably has 1,000 homeless people. I would assume Midnight Mission has 1,000. Imagine if they lost 100% of their funding. All shelters lost fund. Because if you're going to bitch about the homeless industry, what are you going to do? Take away all the money or fix it? Right? I opt for fixing it. Yes, it's broken. Let's fix it. Because if you take away all the money, holy shit, all those people would be out on the streets. I mean, when you do the homeless count, there's sheltered people and sheltered, and there's unsheltered, right? Could you imagine all the shelters, all the outreach, all of that closing tomorrow? Or closing in a month? What that would do to homelessness? Imagine, because if you're going to bitch about the homeless industry, again, we've either got to get rid of it or we got to fix it. If you get rid of it, oh my gosh, that would be so bad. Can we fix it? I hope so. That's part of our work. That's part because We don't get funding from the homeless industry because I talk like this, because I will say there's problems. That's when you guys support us, you're supporting honesty. Anyways, going back to the clip, and I almost want to play it again. I won't, but I almost do. Brett said so eloquently, to end homelessness, it's not going to, the programs are not going to solve homelessness. We've got to start. He was talking more on a moral level. We've got to start seeing homeless people as equals. We've got to start caring about our homeless neighbors. That is the first step. He said it at the end. He said, hate homelessness, but love the homeless person. Hate homelessness, but love the homeless person. Hate homelessness, but love the homeless person. Imagine if we did that. For real. Imagine, because the reason that we're not able to end homelessness is there's several groups. There's a very much on the extreme group that calls homeless people vagrants. They hate homeless people. They post propaganda of trying to spread a false narrative that homeless people are all monsters and we should all be scared. They only want police action. These same people have fought every shelter, every housing, every low-income community. They blame politicians because all they want is police action, which is the most expensive, and it does nothing to end homelessness. Then there are people that just don't understand. It's not that they hate homeless people. They've been conditioned or raised, or they're filled with misinformation, and they don't understand, so they're scared, or they're listening to the negative propaganda from the completely whacked out group that just hates homeless people. Then there's people that are just in love with money, right? And they don't see that investing in helping people would actually save money. They still believe that we should do the trickle-down economics thing. Rich people, when they make more money, save it or invest it. They don't give it to us. It doesn't work. Then there's people that are on the fence. I'm not covering those of us that love homeless people, right? I'm just talking about there's these homeless haters that, they literally hate homeless people. Their agenda is just to get the police to come in and remove homeless people. They do not care that it's extremely expensive and doesn't end homelessness. They, for whatever in their mind, are just blinded by hate. God, I would hate to be like that. And then, there's a group that, is just scared and doesn't understand. And then there's a group on the fence. And that's where we come in. The homeless haters, just got to leave them. They're not worth the time. The people on the fence, the people that are scared, we got to educate them. We have to teach them. We have to hold their hand. We have to, counter the false narratives from media, from the homeless haters, from everything else, which is why our work here is so important. So Jeff made an interesting point. Maybe it requires community solution that can be solved that can't be solved by a government. I did a television show in my past life. I was a television producer with George W. Bush, when he was running for president. He was the governor. And he was trying to get faith-based organizations to end homelessness. So while that's a nice idea, churches will never work together. But Jeff A., you got to understand, our government did end homelessness, right? In 1927, the Mississippi flooded. It was like the Katrina before Katrina. A couple of million people lost their homes. It was the first mass. There's homelessness that goes back to the 1600s. I'm sure it goes back to the beginning of time, but recorded homelessness. So in 1927, the Mississippi flooded, and I think almost 2 million people lost their homes. It was a serious crisis. Then 2 years later, we had Black Friday, and the economy tanked. And we saw homelessness just grow. So you had the 1927 Mississippi flooded, Black Friday in 1929, the Great Depression. Homelessness was probably soon. I saw somebody earlier talk about the evictions. I wanted to stop to talk about it, but I played a video out of order. We might see that level of homelessness soon, but what the government did is it started something called the Transient Homeless Tax, and it. Many of the bridges, we're having an infrastructure crisis now, but many of the bridges and highways and everything were built from this the homeless transient tax. There was art programs and social services programs and job programs. And literally, our government came really close to ending homelessness. So it can be done. But there's always a but. It was so good, they wanted it for everybody, and it's now called Social Security, which is, they don't know if it's ever going to crash or anything else. Amy talks about generational homelessness, and very true, and something we're close to the end here, but if you remind me next week, Amy, or put in the comments or something, we'll talk about that. So our government has ended homelessness. And when Reagan cut $15 billion, he created homelessness. So if Reagan can create homelessness, we can end it. We can end homelessness. We can. So Authentistic is talking about, looks like churches in Missouri. So Elizabeth Moore, I don't know where you are. Yeah, Malka, I don't get, I try to keep the topic here on homelessness, and Addie gets mad at me when I go into politics. And I know we've been saying one of these shows is going to be about spirituality, but one of the reasons that I am a Christian is it helps me understand at the end of the day, because, thank you, Anonymous. You see good people do bad and bad people do good. Although lately you're seeing bad people get better. I don't know if that's even a term. With what's going on with, and Addie, I promise I won't go too deep. What's going on with the Arizona recall and Republicans. You guys have heard me say this before. My stepdad was a Republican. My stepdad was a good man. My stepdad cared. It was a different Republican Party. The Republican Party now, I don't think, and I'm not a Democrat. I don't think the Democratic Party is, there's problems there too. But oh my gosh, the Republican Party, the GOP of today is it's evil. It's evil. It's the only way that I can. Hey, Michael, thanks for asking. I never had COVID. I've had other health issues. I had blood clots in my lungs, and I still have. Kenneth, you're right, and I'm trying to. One thing that, I say I'm going to try to not make it left and right, and here I go make it left and right. You'll see in the YouTube comments all the time Republicans, well, don't vote Democrat, or that's because California is Democrat, or whatever. You don't see Democrats do that, but Republicans do. I think it has a lot to do with media and Fox News and what they're getting because they're being programmed to hate Democrats. But I try to always respond, homelessness is an American issue. Homelessness is not a Republican issue, just a Republican or just a Democrat issue. It's not. If you look at the two parties, the Republicans did a major tax cut for rich people that never got to poor people. Yet they're saying homelessness is caused by Democrats. That spin that is passed on by Fox News in the last, whatever you want to call them. So to your point, Kenneth, is at some point, and it's not just over homelessness, we have to get to a point where we can talk, agree, and compromise. Talk, agree, disagree, and compromise. There's none of that anymore. But what I think there has to be a different name for Trump's GOP, because it's evil. It's not Republicans. I have no idea. So, folks, it is 9:04. I don't know, Total Control. I don't think a cult does it well. Yeah, and you have Newsmax and everything else. And, I don't think CNN and all that are that innocent either. I do believe Fox News and Newsmax and Breitbart are all the worst. But that is something else. That's another topic. We'll do that again next week. So, people, first off, thank you, Addie. And I didn't get too political now, did I? And thank you, Derek. Derek was talking about something coming up, like he's gonna do something special, I think, in September. Derek, what was that you're doing in September? I saw you share at your camp. No, not dinner time. You're like having a big event or something. You're going to have the cabana cabins or something. You're doing some event. Anyways, as soon as I get to LA and get planted, I'm going to drive up or fly up to see Derek. I was hoping to see Derek. I actually showed you an empty room. I've got to get out of this house and get back to LA because homelessness is growing and we got to do something about it. So anyways, people, thank you. Thank you for spending another Sunday night with me. I almost said spending another week. It's not been a week. You want a week-long marathon? I don't believe I just said that. No, I'm not going to be live streaming for a week. The most we've done is 4 hours, and that was a lot. But we do have another August 24th. I will have 26 years sober. Maybe we'll do something. Anyways, thank you, Addie. Thank you, Derek. Thank all of you for spending Sunday night. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the previews. I'm going to end by playing the second, the clip of actually on Skid Row. I love how it ends. And this Wednesday, the video will be live, and if you want to tag, even if you're like Dano in the UK, you can look up California senators and you can tag them with this video. You don't have to be in California to get California senators, politicians to watch this video. And we need all of your help because we have to help pass this law. So Wednesday, first thing in the morning, hopefully, if everything goes right, we're still editing it. Alex is putting her magic finishing touches on it. We will be dropping our newest mini documentary to help change a law in California, and we need your help. So as soon as this video ends, and I love how it ends, I'm going to stop the live stream, and I love you guys, and I'll see you next week.
We're here to see my friend Takesha. For the past 4 years, her typical pattern is that she will go into the hospital in a severe asthma attack. She's been intubated multiple times with the tube down her throat to help her breathe. She'll stay in the hospital for a week or two, be discharged on steroids, and be okay for about a week or two out here and then back into the hospital. All right, Takesha. Do you need help? How's your breathing doing? You said you're starting to get short of breath again? I'm gonna take a listen.
Yeah, I'm feeling a little bit. Before 2 years ago, I was in the hospital, once every 6-7 months. And now, for the last 2 years, it's been like once a month.
So how long does it take you from the time you leave here to the time you get back to go to an appointment?
Good 8 hours, yeah. They've helped me a lot. They've saved me trips to the doctors. They've helped me get to the doctor.
Do you feel like in a few days you'd have to go back to the hospital?
Probably.
You are pretty wheezy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you the steroids here to try and prevent you from having to go back to the hospital. Yeah, I wrote it right here. 4 for 3 days, 3 for 3 days, 2 for 3 days, 1 for 3 days, then stop. The Street Medicine Act will help somebody like Takesha because before we met her, she wasn't able to get any of her medications. But essentially what it does is that it legitimizes street medicine as a real form of healthcare delivery, and in doing so, recognizes the people on the street as human and somebody who's worthy of our care and our love.